Hey guys, it's Kim here. I hope you guys had a wonderful Valentine's Day. I had like the best Valentine's Day ever. It was my very first Valentine's Day I've ever celebrated, and everything was just perfect. It was very memorable, and I was so happy that I was able to record it and share it with you guys, and I'll be able to keep this memory forever. The night before, I made dinner because I wanted to cook for Valentine's Day, and the day afterwards, the day of Valentine's Day, my boyfriend actually took me out to get hot pot, and it was all you can eat hot pot. So this will be like a recipe tutorial slash vlog. Starting off this recipe with the desserts, I'm using simple white chocolate chips because it's what I have laying around and it just tastes yummier, but feel free to get actual melting chocolate. For candy melts, I think those are a bit too sweet, so I personally avoid those. Microwave in intervals of 30 seconds, stirring it in between to prevent any scorching, burning of the chocolate. Heat this until the chocolate is in dippable consistency, which is basically you can dip something in it and it'll come out smoothly. Before you begin dipping anything into your chocolate, prepare a pan lined with parchment paper. Take some clean and dried off strawberries, grab it by the stems, and dip it into the chocolate until it is coated, scraping off the bottom of any excess and place it onto a pan lined with parchment paper. Scraping the chocolate is meant to stop it from pulling all over and making it into ugly strawberries. It'll basically look like a Gudetama strawberry if you don't scrape it. For Oreos, I'm using 2 forks to dip it into the chocolate, but I'm not going to bother with scraping it because that's a little too complicated here, but I will cut off any excess chocolate on the Oreos later when they dry off. I'm using food dye that's specifically meant for chocolate. Regular ones would just seize the chocolate and make it kind of pretty much unusable anymore. And I'm dyeing this into the color pink for Valentine's Day, but feel free to use whatever colors that makes you happy. I'm making a little parchment paper cone, but honestly, there are a lot of better videos out there demoing this. But make sure the tip of the cone is really pointy enough to hurt yourself, I guess. Now carefully add your chocolate into your makeshift cone. We don't want to overflow this, so just fill it up about like less than 3/4 of the way. Fold it over to seal it and clean off any excess. And just cut off the end and then drizzle this onto your strawberries and cookies. I didn't have any Valentine's Day sprinkles, and for some reason all the stores were out of it when I went and looked, even though it was only a few days before Valentine's Day when I did this. But I think this would look really great with like some heart sprinkles or any Valentine's Day sprinkles. And to be super cheesy, you could also add initials of your loved one, the significant other, or your own initials, whatever works. I like to keep things simple, so I just stuck with drizzling. Just for funsies, I did add in 2 heart Oreos. Now, throw everything into the refrigerator very carefully so the chocolate can set, and you just leave it in there until the chocolate hardens. For a presentation, since I live with my boyfriend already, I just put everything onto this marble platter that was lined with parchment paper so it wouldn't get dirty, obviously. And it looked perfect, and I believe my boyfriend ate this all in one sitting and asked me why didn't I make more. I actually could have made more, but I was kinda just too exhausted. For the remainder of the video, my hands are gonna look like this because the food dye exploded on me. It's not blood, I promise, and sorry for being disgusting. For dinner, I made some ribs. There are like barbecue sauce ones, and there's a dry rub one because my boyfriend prefers the dry rub one, and I prefer the saucier ribs. They're both very easy to do at the same time even because they're very simple. So if you prefer one or the other or both, you could have both in the recipe for you. I'm gonna show you the ribs that we got the other night. It's like $1.99 per pound, as you can see here. There was like a huge sale. We bought a ton of ribs. So I know you're very tempted to just throw this entire thing in the oven. You're gonna need to take out all this fatty fat on the pork because it's not gonna taste good at all. So we're gonna take these ribs, and obviously I need to unpackage this. So we're just gonna take the ribs and cut out all the fat. So here's fat, taking it off. Okay, now that I trimmed as much fat as I possibly can from these ribs, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this. I'm gonna actually cut up this meat as much as I don't want to because I kind of like how a whole rack of meat looks, but I have a small oven, so I'm gonna have to cut it. As you can see, here's a rib, and here's another rib, and so on. So you're just gonna start cutting it. Look at the delicious rib piece right here. Ugh. I might actually leave this piece alone because I think I'm going to make a half dry rub, half barbecue. So because I want to experiment with different kind of recipes for this. So yeah, so like half the rack will be another thing. And here is our delicious ribs. The key or the secret, well, I can't really say secret because I'm putting it all on YouTube, but the key to this recipe is to boil all our ribs so they'll be nice and tender. So I have a giant pot of water here, and we're going to add all our seasonings in here and boil our ribs in here for about an hour. I have my salt, pepper, and garlic powder pre-measured here. Don't worry, all the ingredients and the amounts will be down in the description box. Just dump this all into the pot. Stir this with a whisk. Once it's hot and boiling, I carefully place all my ribs in here just to avoid any scary splashbacks. And after about an hour, everything will be nice and tender. Grab a pan that you won't be too sad about if it got destroyed. I'm using Dollar Tree pans that aren't meant for the eyes of YouTube, but you know, disposable pans work too really. Double line these with some heavy duty foil to prevent any leaking. And just throw on your yummy ribs. Just generously add barbecue sauce all over. I like using Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. Stick to your favorite barbecue sauce if you like. And I'm just going to brush this on, and I'm going to turn it once and do the other side. So go ahead and cover this up. You want to tightly secure this with more foil on top of it. Cook this at 325 degrees Fahrenheit for an hour, and in the last 15 minutes add more barbecue sauce. Here are the ribs freshly out of the oven, and it looks amazing! Okay, this part are for those of you that prefer the dry rub. I'm just using an 8x8 pan and lining it with foil, double line. And this is the rack of ribs that I set aside earlier. To make the dry rub, you just combine together in a bowl brown sugar, salt, black pepper, garlic powder, and optional is paprika. You just smother the dry rub onto your ribs and cover it up with foil, and we throw this into the oven. This is my go-to recipe for broccoli side dishes. You basically just throw broccoli onto a pan, drizzle some oil, season it with some salt and pepper, and I drizzle some lemon on it for flavor. I use pre-squeezed lemon juice just to save time. Bake this in a preheated oven of 400 degrees for 20 minutes. This is by far my most favorite broccoli dish, and it's so easy to do. It's like one less thing to worry about in the kitchen when you're busy making other bigger projects. To make a strawberry banana smoothie, all you need are 8 strawberries, 1 banana, 3 tablespoons of sugar, half a cup of milk, half a cup of yogurt, 2 tablespoons of vanilla, and 6 cubes of ice. Blend this all together well, and if you have a setting for like smoothies, totally use that. I like to go back between the ice setting and the smoothie setting. This is probably my favorite strawberry banana smoothie recipe. I've actually never tried any other recipes for strawberry banana smoothies before because this one was so good. I didn't find a reason to find another recipe. Even though I like experimenting with better recipes, it was just like, why change something when it's already perfect? It's finally Valentine's Day, but I couldn't quite decide on a dress. It was either this cutesy light pink dress or this tight mauve or light purple dress. I ended up wearing like both in one day. So there's this hot pot place I've been wanting to go to for a while. It looks super fancy, but I told my boyfriend I don't want to go unless it was for a special occasion. He suggested going there for Valentine's Day instead, and here we are. What really drew me to this place was these fancy conveyor belts, the really nice decor. They really utilize their iPads. It's not just there for show. You can place orders for your broth. There's a huge selection of toppings, and you can even ask for napkins or drinks. And every order I placed came out in under 2 minutes from their very attentive staff. Despite ordering through the iPad, I felt really taken care of, and mind you, this place is always packed. No matter how busy it got, I was attended to. I like the convenience of being able to adjust the heat, and I could turn it off and on as I please. This is something that always bothered me in other restaurants because it would be usually really hard to flag down a waiter to just turn off my fire. I stuck with the original broth. The waiter wasn't able to explain to me exactly what's original, but I felt like that was a safe choice. And my boyfriend got this blindingly spicy broth, and we both agreed I went with the better option. Personally, this style hot pot I was like never a big fan of. It's always bland tasting to me. But at this place, the broth was flavorful enough to accompany the toppings, and I loved the huge variety they had. I'm not a big fan of sauces in these kind of places, and kind of stuck with the plain oyster sauce, but I'm not sure it was oyster or hoisin. I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right. The big plus was the conveyor belt actually came out with fruits and desserts occasionally. When I say occasionally, I meant often, like very often. They had macaroons, cake, fruits, and it just kept coming and coming.
Valentine's Day special.
Oh, thank you. And on top of that, a waiter came by and gave me complimentary chocolate dipped strawberries for Valentine's Day. I'm gonna go back. It was so nice here, and the decor was just so Instagram worthy. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know down in the comment box. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Be sure to watch my previous video. Follow me on all my social media sites. I hope you guys have a happy Chinese New Year's, and bye!